got it or something.
Yep, we did it.
All right, Matt Gouget, Get Better Every Day podcast. Excited to have my buddy Matt Ishbia on the podcast today. Friend, mentor, mortgage industry icon. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today, brother.
I'm glad to be here with you. Excited to chat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so many different areas where we can start. I love sports analogies, and so I love all the stuff that you've integrated from your time playing basketball to the boardroom and to running UWM. Not everybody is going to be tuned into the mortgage industry and know exactly who you are. So maybe give us a minute or two on who is Matt Ishbia.
Yeah, well, I'm a father of 3 children, amazing children, first off, and I run a business called UWM. And so, my background is played basketball at Michigan State for Tom Izzo, which is a great experience. I wasn't very good, ended the bench, but worked hard, extremely hard to be the worst player on that team. We won a national championship, 3 Final Fours, then got in the mortgage business in a mortgage company called UWM. I was the 12th person here, and we built the company from 12 people to 7,000, 8,000 people, become the #1 overall mortgage lender, #1 wholesale lender in the country, largest. And we've grown quite a bit, and using a lot of things we learned in sports and applying it to business, from work ethic to accountability to positive attitude to getting better every day. Like your podcast is called Get Better. That's the mentality we have at our company and what we built here. And it's been a great run. And we take care of mortgage brokers and consumers, helping consumers work with mortgage brokers and helping mortgage brokers grow and build their business. So it's really a great passion filled business for me and my team members here. And we love it. We love it, helping people grow, helping mortgage companies succeed. And at the same time, we know we're doing great things, helping consumers buy homes cheaper, faster, easier than they could elsewhere.
Yeah, I love it. Anybody who listens to my podcast knows that one of my favorite sayings, and I love to ask this question, is people overestimate what they can do in a year or two, and they underestimate what they can do in a decade or two. So I don't think there's a better example of somebody who's done massive things over the last 2 decades. But what I want people to get from this is it doesn't happen overnight. And it's not something where like one day you wake up at 4 o'clock and work for 12 hours and voila, you've got success, right? It's a marathon and it's a grind. And so I think to give people some perspective, let's go back 2 decades. Let's go back to Matt Ishbia, first day in the office, brand new to mortgage, doesn't know a thing. What were those first, months or years like stepping into the mortgage industry 2 decades ago?
Yeah, well, I love your saying. I love what you said about the quote, because that's real, right? Nothing happens that quickly. Like, you have to be consistently outworking everybody. And so my first days in the mortgage industry was learning the business from scratch, and got in earlier, stayed later. And I always joke with people, people talk about, hey, Matt works at 4 a.m. to 6 p.m., like 6:30, like every day. I've done it for years. Well, the difference is, like, nobody cared the first 15 years I did it. Like, nobody recognized it. No one said high five, except for, like, I would just miss out on different opportunities. Couldn't be out, like, no one cared. Like, you have to be consistently outworking everybody. And so my world back then was just learning, asking questions. That's one thing I think young people are, I'm not saying young as in the age, but younger as like newer people are afraid to ask questions. I asked so many questions to everybody all the time. And I just took them all as data points and learned and worked. And that's a lot of the success. Like, you got to get better. Like, if I get 1 inch better every day, to your points, I'm going to be significantly better in 10 years and 20 years than I am in 1 or 2 years. Too many people think, oh, I'm going to do this, and by next year I'm going to make 6 figures. Like, that's not how the real world works. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? It's hard to be great. And that's why you get paid for it. That's why you have success. That's what success is about.
Right. And that's why not everybody can achieve these humongous things. So they're not willing to consistently put in the work. And I think that's what I want people to hear and understand, is that no matter where you're at, no matter where you're starting, you take a step in the right direction, and then you take the next step and the next step and the next step. And over time, you realize, like, look at how far I've walked. I know at the conference we were recently at, you basically showed a picture to people, 2 paths, right? And people have paths that they can choose. Something that I meant to send you a message on too was there was a big wide open path where it's like not taking action. We know where that leads, right? That leads to failure. And then on the right, there was some bushes, and it's unknown like what result you're going to get. But putting in the work consistently and really like putting your head down the next 12 or 15 months, whether you're in a business like the mortgage or real estate business that's going to get harder, or whether you're, working any other job, you're taking on a health endeavor where you're trying to better your health, right? Like, you don't know what's going to come of all this hard work. And sometimes you're going to have to be in the bushes. Nobody can see you. So I love
the one thing
that.
I'd say about that, and I agree with this, like, you don't know what's in front of you. I don't know what's in front of me 2 years or 2 months, but I know one step. Go one step forward and you'll move up. And then that day you look around and how do you go forward again? And that's, like I said, whether it's a health thing like you're talking about, whether it's business, whether it's family, whatever it is, if you're taking one step, moving forward in the right direction each day, you'll turn around and be much further along, just like you said. But I think too many people kind of look and say, did I make it yet? Where am I at? Instead of just staying focused and going forward.
Right. Yeah. The immediate reward is something that probably hurts people, is they don't get immediate reward. They quit, or they, lose passion or focus or whatever. I would love for you to retell a story that you told on one of your UWM sales meetings. That's really resonated with me. Losing the championship in 1999 at Michigan State, and then being back in the gym the next month, and everybody being, on a mission and working in the dark. To your point, right? Like, you're working in the dark. Nobody sees or cares. See, people just see the trophy lifted the next year. So retell that story if you could.
Yeah. Well, it was a great experience. I was on Michigan State. We went to 3 Final Fours in a row, 1999, 2000, 2001. But after 1999, we lost in the Final Four to Duke. And I remember leaving the gym or going back to the Michigan State. And I'd say I was a freshman that year. And all we did is said, we're going to win the championship next year in 2000. 12 months from today, we are winning this championship. And everybody had to make their commitment and do their things. And like I said, I like they're saying working in the dark. That's what it was. May 9th, 1999, right after we lost in the Final Four, like a month later, working out at 4 a.m. And then May 10th, 4 a.m., May 11th, 4 a.m. And then June 15th, till 9 p.m., till 10 p.m. Like, nobody cared. You didn't go out and have drinks with your buddies. You didn't go out, you didn't go see your family. You didn't see as much, but the grind every day. And then we won the championship. It was like, we knew we were going to, like, we did all the work. Like, nobody just, everyone's like, oh, that was a great game, that game. No, we won the championship in June of, the year before, all the work you put in. And so similar in the mortgage business right now, we got 12 to 15 months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 18 months, but you got some time where you're going to be working in the dark. You're going to be out working everybody, and there's no high-fiving, there's no celebrating. No one knows that you're doing it except for you and the work you're doing. And you'll be so happy you did in the future.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a great point. And that's what some folks, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what type of work you're doing, if you want to win the championship in whatever department you're trying to win a championship in 24 and 25, the work you put in today is what's going to yield those results. I recently saw something that was cool. I know you love this too, because you're a sports guy. They were interviewing Deion Sanders, and he was on stage at a conference. They're showing his best plays, and he goes, turn it off. Stop. My best plays aren't the ones you see, aren't the highlight reels on ESPNs. My best plays are in practice, because practice is where I sharpen my skills, where I got better. And that's the reason why I made these plays. Right. And that's exactly what we're talking about is putting in the work. The practice is what they call it in sports. And, in our industry or other industries, there's a lot of practice to be done too. What would you say to people who are, struggling with how to, put one foot in front of the other and find motivation to put in the practice, no matter what the discipline is?
Yeah, well, you got to figure out what your goals in life are, like whether it's business, whether it's personal, like what's your goals? And you got to think about those goals and why you're trying to accomplish them, right? And so if you have a goal, a lot of people call it their why, whatever people want to call it, but like, what's your goal that you're trying to get to? And then what's the path you're going to get there? How are you going to get there? And there's no such thing as a goal that you just show up and you just get there. Like people say sometimes the journey is the thing. Like, I don't know if the journey is a grind. It's a grind. And yes, I love to get to the end, but the end is just a day. And so when I tell people that are struggling, trying to make that first step or continuing that path is, listen, I don't know if it's going to take 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years, but I know for sure if you don't go forward, you won't get there. If you don't keep moving in that direction, you have no chance. That's the only thing I know for sure. It could take 20 years. You might never get there, but I know if you stop now, for sure you're done. And that's how I think about things. Like, I'm not willing to give up. I'm not willing to say I'm all done. If I am, then I'm not. That's not a real goal of mine. Like, if you want to, whether it's like you said, whether it's business, whether it's addiction, whether it's losing weight, whatever. If you stop trying to execute the play right now, you will never get there. That's for sure. If you keep trying, you got a shot. And that's how I think about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think Les Brown had a great quote. Like, all these quotes resonate with me. I've been on this, self-development path for about 8 years, where I just hungry to get better, where he said, the problem with most folks is not that they aim too high, not that they aim too low and hit. It's that they aim, I screwed up the quote. Anyhow, this is life, right? This is where not everything's perfect. But what I was getting to is that if you set a goal where, like, hey, I want to get under 200 pounds, and you go from 200 to 205, you missed, but you're a lot better than you were at 230. If you set a sales goal, you say, I want to do 100 million in sales, and you only get to 88, that's better than staying stagnant at 30, right? And so set big
that maybe
goals.
you're looking for, which is like, I don't know if it's Les Miles. Someone said, shoot for the stars and land on the moon. Right. Strive for excellence. If you end up great, you're okay. Like, too many people are like, oh, if I can't get to the stars and I end up on the moon, like, you're still much better than you were today. Like I've had more success, and this is true, setting really big goals, and the goals that I've missed, I've gotten so much better from, not because of theoretical things, but like I've rolled out new things like, in my business, one-click AUS and processor assist are tied to a goal that I set that I missed. But I rolled those things out, so I'm better off that I rolled it out and set this crazy goal and still missed it. So people are so worried about missing goals, like, set them, go for it, and good things will happen on the way.
Right. Yeah. Write it down, talk about it. And I think that's something that we can pull out for listeners is you've got to be intentional. Like, everybody's the author of their own book. Right. And you've got to be intentional about everything you do. To your point, everyone's got their own why, everyone's got their own goals in life. But if you're not intentional and you don't write it down, you don't tell people about it, you don't set a plan, you're big on the sports analogies, and, your book, Running the Corporate Offense, I had to run that one back last night. You set the play and then you run the play. And that's, in sports, in business, in health, in everything. I want to get more fit. All right, what's the play? I'm going to track my diet, and I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. Then you run that play, right? If you don't achieve your goal, you didn't run the play. You didn't do it effectively. And the same goes for business and everything else. What are some, like, tactical things that you can tell people as far as, making a game plan? Because I think that's important for some people to understand is, be intentional, set a game plan. What advice do you have for folks on that?
Well, I think what starts with the goal, and then you got to say, okay, we say win. What's important now? What do I got to do right now to hit that goal? And so win. Okay, you want to use your lose weight. Okay, well, in order to do this, I gotta look up a gym membership. I gotta throw out all the junk food in my house. And you got to start doing stuff now to hit that goal. And you know what? Like, in using your gym goal or your lose weight goal that you kind of said, it's a great example, because if you join a gym, you throw out all the food in your house, you start eating vegetables and fruit, right? Whatever you want to do. And you start working out 3 times a week. If you look at your body in 3 weeks, what does it look like? The same as it looked before. Nothing's changed. But if you do that for 3 months or 9 months, then you'll start to see a difference. And that's the same thing we're talking about. You got to start moving forward. You got to start doing something. You want to lose weight? Join a gym. Stop eating the junk food, right? Like, start now, right? Don't eat after 7 o'clock. Make that a rule. Like, start planning. And so I think game plans, you got to think about the goal and then start putting in realistic things you can start doing immediately. Too many people think, okay, I'm going to set up a thing and I'm going to meet with some real estate agents next month. Like, next month, like, start today. Like, go look it up now. Don't let perfect get in the way of good. Let's start moving. Like I talked about at that AIM event that you were at, run fast. Just start doing it. Start figuring out, and you can, I can't only live on only vegetables and fruit. I got to have some protein. I got to eat. I'm going to have one cheat day. That doesn't work for me without it. Like, you can start maneuvering, but start going in the right direction.
Yeah. And you said something there, which I've personally witnessed from you and your business and how you run things, is that you're not taking 60 days to analyze the perfect way to execute something. If there's an idea, if there's a way to get started on something, you're implementing immediately. And then after a week, you're going to identify, we got to course correct. I'd love to know, like, where that came from, where you learned, what has obviously proved to be a great business practice of let's take action quick, let's course correct where needed, but let's not sit around and wait for perfect. Let's just go ahead and start.
Well, what I think I learned a long time ago was that when people try to wait for perfect, you actually never get started. And so what I said is, like, if we kind of said like one step ahead, like if I take one step forward, I'm better than I was today. Get better every day, a little bit better. And so too many people are trying to hit home runs every time. My point is I want to just make some contact. I want to get out there and I'll figure out how to, like you said, course correct and get the ball in the field better. But I can't sit here and wait till the perfect pitch comes and wait till like let's go. You got to start doing things, because you know what, the real thing I learned over the years, it's been 19 years at UWM now, is that I don't know the exact right way. Things are going to move. The market's going to change. This product's not going to be as successful as this. This is but I got to start going. And so I think the biggest thing is to start now. There's a saying, they say, like, what's the best time to plant a tree, right? They say it's 20 years ago, right? The second best time is today, because you can't fix anything else. Like if you did it 20 years ago, if not, start today. Start moving forward right now. And I'm a big believer of going. Just start going, and I'll figure it out as I go.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen that. I had the pleasure of sitting on the advisory council and seeing kind of the inner workings of how effective it is to get started and take the feedback from, clients, from partners, from everybody to say, okay, this is working really well. This we got to do a different way. This is not working. We're gonna shed that. And so it's obviously what's helped grow UWM to be the #1 wholesale lender in the country. I would love to hear some failures, because I think a lot of people get misconstrued. Oh man, this guy's just been on a winning streak for 19 straight years and put one foot in front of the other, and here he is atop the mountain, right? So humanize yourself a little bit, like some areas where like, yep, let's jump in, let's do this, where it might have failed.
Oh man, so it's a hard question for me, not because I don't have a lot of them, but because of this, is when I make a mistake and I failed, I've changed so fast that I don't linger on that mistake for too long. But I've made many decisions, from hiring people to rolling out products to changing processes or policies, that after like a week or a month, it's like, whoa, this ain't feeling good. This guy isn't a good fit, or that clients didn't really like that change. Pull it back, let's maneuver, and even in those situations, you get 70% as good. You hired this guy to lead this team. He brings in this girl and this other guy to work with him. And you realize real quick, he's not great, but the winning was, but the one girl, she was great. So I'm going to keep her, now make her that role and move. Like there's always some win. There aren't very many, like, I try and 100% fail. There's always a win in there. There's always something. And I choose to focus on the little win and say, oh, I hired that guy. It was a complete debacle. Why did I not interview? I didn't do a good job. But he hired this girl who's super. I'm so glad I hired this guy. And like, boom, next thing you know, I'm moving on up. And so there's always some shining light in all these failures. So I don't even consider them failures. I consider them small wins instead of as big of a win as I was hoping.
Yeah. I mean, and truth be told, I think that some of the failures are the biggest wins, because you learn. And I was, thinking along the same lines as you, is like, there's no such thing as losing if you learn. That goes from the 2nd, 3rd grade basketball team I coach with my son, right? Where it's like, we didn't lose, we learned a lot, right? And that might fuel us to go out there and work harder and be a better team because of that loss. And business and in life, it's the same thing. Tom Mancuso, and we talked, something that is an absolute tragedy from the outside looking into some folks, blessing in his life. He's the person he is today because of tragedy and what some others might consider as a negative. So I love that, it's even the best of the best are fumbling and losing and finding ways to get better because of it.
All the time.
Cool. One thing I was going to ask you about, because, you're in this position now as a leader, and, selfishly on this podcast, I get to learn a lot, right? From conversations and whatnot. And in the current phase of my life, going from loan originator to leading a team and whatnot, something I love that came out of the book, another shout out to Running the Corporate Offense, great book. Leadership doesn't require you having all the answers. Leadership doesn't require you being the most talented player. That was either you or Izzo in the book that said that. Where did you learn, leadership skills, and what about, where did you learn, I guess, the humbleness to not just be someone who's giving orders as a leader and saying, I want you to do this, I want you to do that?
Well, it's great experience. So a couple different things that kind of tie to that. First off, in high school, I'm the star player, the dominant player, all county, all state, like all the recognition, great player. And then you scoring 25 points a game, the star. Then you go to college and you don't even get on the court, right? you realize there's a lot of people out there that are better than you. And it's a humble way of realizing, like, I'm going to be the best version of myself. And in order to be that, I better outwork everyone, because I can't control that I'm not 6'8". I can control that I'm willing to outwork everyone, come in early, stay late. And so, humble is, you learn a little bit about that when in basketball and in sports. But then also, learning from my father always taught me, like, listen, we always do right by others. Do right by others and expect nothing in return. Do the right thing for someone, whether it's a homeless person, whether it's someone that's been very successful. Always do the right thing for others and be appreciative of the situation in life you have. And so, like, I learned that from my mom, my dad, about always being grateful and thankful for what we do have, not always thinking about what I don't have. And at the same time, be grateful for what you have, but then work towards whatever you dream you want in life. And then the last piece I would throw in there, just to kind of bring all three in, I talked about basketball, I talked about parents, and then Tom Izzo, it's the way he carries himself. What I learned about being around Tom Izzo, Mateen Cleaves, even Jason Red, all these future stars or NBA stars, or, is that, they treated everybody else like we're equals. Like it wasn't like Tom Izzo didn't be like, oh, this guy's the last guy on the bench. Like, I'm not even, like, he still checked in, like, hey, what's up with your girlfriend this year? How's this class going? Like he still cared about us. And it made me realize that no matter where you are positioned, whether you're the top dog or the brand new guy or gal, you treat everyone with respect, and you never know who can help you and who you can help. And I do a lot of things for helping people that I know will never help me. And that's okay, because I'm helping them out. And I know that one day they'll do that for someone else, and that someone's done that for me along the way. And so being humble and appreciative of where you're at and where you've come from, and at the same time, where you're going, is a big part of success.
Oh, I totally agree. Totally agree. Man, I appreciate the heck out of your time. I don't want to take too much of it. In closing, is there anything, that you want to end with as far as advice to folks that are getting started, at getting better every day? Because I know personally, and this is why, Get Better Every Day is, kind of a project and a mission for me, is that, it took me till I was in my 30s. You were a young man who was driven at 23 and doing good things. I was messing around, and I was on the wrong path. It took, an eye-opening moment when I was 31 to get put on the right path. From all the things that you've seen, from coaching and leading and 9,000 employees, what advice would you give to people about getting better every day and taking steps in the right direction?
Yeah. So two quick ones. One is this: use your resources, ask for help. Like watching your podcast, I'm getting better. You're going to get better. Like we all get, like, you try too many people try to do it alone, try to figure it out themselves. Like you can have, people will help you. Reach out and take someone's hand if they're asking you, if they're able to help. Like ask for help, use your resources. One thing I would tell people, because I think too many people try to figure it out themselves. So first off, ask for help, look for help, and try to solve things with others helping you out. And the second thing is, it's not going to always go great. Stay positive. It's not perfect. You're going to try things and things aren't going to work, and you're going to feel like, stay positive. Realize that great things are upon you if you want to work for them, because you get to change. So if no matter what your situation was, you're 31, you get to change every day. People are watching your podcast right now. They can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm changing my work ethic. I'm changing my attitude. I'm setting goals. I'm going to get better every day. You do that right now, they will win in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. They will. They can change. If they don't decide today, they'll decide next week. But you can change any day. Use your resources and be open to change. You can change right now and get better.
I totally agree. Yeah. And to that point, like we live in the greatest time in history in 2022. You don't have to travel the lengths of the world or find a mentor, right? You've got, Matt Ishbia and Alex Hormozy and all these great folks online. You pull up YouTube and you want to learn about business, you want to learn about health and fitness, you want to learn about any of this stuff. It's all out there, right? And, if this podcast provided you any value, what I ask of listeners is, share this with somebody who might need to hear it. Share this with somebody who could glean some value from it. I appreciate you and your time, Matt. Thank you so much. Anybody who's listening, continue to get better every day, and we're going to do it together. I'm continuing to get better every day myself.
Thanks so much for having me. Great stuff.